Hello guys, welcome back. Today we are doing the opposite side to what we did last night. We are looking at some of the benefits to buy an Hcmc or some of the good parts of the company. Again, last night we looked at some of the bad parts of the company, so now we are doing the opposite side. It's always a good idea to have a rounded view of every single company. And as I mentioned in last night's episode, every single company has good parts to it. Every single company has bad parts to it. Hcmc is no exception. There definitely are some bad parts to this company, but there definitely are some good parts to this company, and obviously tonight we are covering the good. I definitely would recommend that you watch the video on the bad as well, because again it doesn't hurt to have a well-rounded opinion if you are looking to buy Hcmc. Obviously, I am not a financial advisor, and I definitely do recommend that you do your own research and due diligence on this stock before buying it or even thinking about buying it. Because, as I have mentioned many times before, the intention of this video is to kind of point you in the right direction of some things to go and look up or look into. But obviously, I'm not giving you all of the information that you need to know, or else this video would be multiple hours long. So again, do make sure to do your own research and your own due diligence so you are happy to buy this stock or even avoid this stock. But yeah, we are looking at some of the good tonight, so make sure to give me a like on this video if you may enjoy it. Obviously subscribe if you haven't already. Guys, we do need to get more of you to subscribe. We are obviously trying to grow the channel, and we talk about Hcmc all the time, so if you haven't subscribed already, it would be appreciated. One thing that I don't really mention as much as I should in these videos is that we do have a Discord. It is completely free, the link is down below, and if you were wanting to support the channel financially, you can do that by pressing that little join button, which is next to the subscribe button. And of course that will help you to help us. But yes, we're going to start this one off now, starting off looking at the charts ever so quickly. So it is a bit earlier in the day today. If you do watch the time in my top corner, usually it is later in the day, about 7 o'clock. Today it's about 2 o'clock, so obviously I'm filming this a bit earlier, so not a lot has happened today in the market. One thing that we can see today is that volume is apparently 2.5 billion already, which is amazing. That's fantastic. So things not doing bad today, and apparently according to Yahoo Finance up here, we are up by about 5%. So I don't know how that works, but there we go. We are still on a price of about 0.0011. So let's start off by looking at some of the good. And I do need to state that some of the points on this video that are good will be in the video of some of the points that are bad, because some of these points are questionable whether they are good or bad. I just thought it's, a good idea to give a perspective on why they may be good and why they may be bad. So we're going to start off looking at the obvious one, which is the lawsuit. I'm sure you already know about this because we have spoken about it many a time, and of course this is the biggest catalyst for Hcmc, but let's talk about why it is important in case you forgot already. So basically, a few months ago, back in November, I do believe this was written, it talks about the fact that Hcmc have actually tried to start this lawsuit against Philip Morris. So it claims that Hcmc's patent rights were infringed upon in connection to their IQOS system. Now, the IQOS system is apparently currently marketed and sold by Philip Morris, and they claim that it's approaching 14 million users and actually has invested over 3 billion in their smokeless tobacco products. So first things first, this is a big deal and this is a good thing potentially. If they are to win this lawsuit, we know that we're looking at a very big product here, around 14 million users, perhaps even more because this was written a long time ago, and obviously over $3 billion invested in these types of products. So where we are now with Hcmc, they definitely could get a payout of 1 billion, perhaps around that, maybe even a lot more than that. But we can just obviously already imagine that 1 billion even, or even 500 million on a very pessimistic note. If they were to get 500 million given to this company, it would be a lot of money for them. So we are dealing with a very big catalyst here, which definitely, if it works in their favour, could see the share price explode. So one thing that I do want to talk about again, we spoke about this in our 25-minute long video on Saturday, but basically Hcmc is represented by Cozen O'Connor. Now, Cozen O'Connor is a very reputable law firm. If we look up here, back in July of 2020, Cozen O'Connor ranked 67th amongst all US law firms. So we're definitely dealing with a very big company here with a good reputation. Personally, I believe that if Cozen O'Connor didn't think that Hcmc could win this lawsuit, would they have even taken on this lawsuit? We've spoken about the facts before. I think that this lawsuit could go in Hcmc's favour, and right now we're in a very precarious position because looking to the end of this week, we are coming up on the date of the 16th. Well, why is the 16th an important date? The reason is because when we do have a quick look on this website, which is called Pacer Monitor, we can see that the 16th of April is when Philip Morris have to file their reply on their motion to dismiss. So basically what's happening is a case of, obviously Philip Morris want to dismiss this case. I mean, why wouldn't you? But what we are waiting to see is whether the judge, or at least the people who are assessing this trial, whether they think the company has a reputable reason to dismiss the case, or whether they think they have a reasonable reason to carry on with the case. Again, if they do have a reason to carry on with the case, things definitely are going in HCMC's favour for sure. It could result in either A, a settlement, or B, the lawsuit playing out over the amount of time it may take. Again, this may be a few weeks, it may be a few months, it might even be a few years, so we definitely should be patient with this one. But again, we are now waiting on the 16th of April, which is just a matter of days away, to find out what is going to happen around this lawsuit, and people are quite bullish on this one for HCMC. Personally, I think this definitely could go in HCMC's favour, and we would all love that to happen. As you guys already know, I do own 1 million shares of HCMC. I've got an order in now for about 500,000 shares, but it still hasn't gone through. I talk about this all the time and it's very annoying. I've been waiting on this one for ever so long, but hopefully it will go through quite soon. Anyway, let's move on to the next catalyst that we do have when looking at HCMC. Well, this is in relation to the lawsuit because it is a big deal. As you may be able to tell already, basically with HCMC, they do have a decent company in my opinion. Obviously they run Healthy Choice supermarkets, they run vape stores as well, but what we are really wanting is them to win this lawsuit, because if they win this lawsuit, they would have a lot of money. With a lot of money, they could do a lot of things. And all of this is kind of explained in detail in their business strategy. So if we go on their website, we can just have a quick look. Business strategy, basically their business strategy entails things like attempting to expand and monetize their patent suite, which is obviously what they're trying to do now with this lawsuit. They also want to operate and potentially even expand its 4 health, food and vitamin stores. So again, a big deal there. That definitely could be a good thing if we do get this money. The same can be said for its 8 vape stores. They potentially are looking to expand those. And what I'm trying to say here is, if they are to win this money, if they do get this money, they definitely could have the potential to expand on these stores, and that obviously could bring in extra revenue for the company, really kickstarting them on the growth path that we would like to see to obviously get this company to be a well-known company in this sector. So again, the fourth part of their business strategy down here is to seek out attractive business lines within its mission of healthier choices to add to its portfolio. So again, that definitely could point to some collaborations potentially in the future. Again, this is not confirmed, but it is down here in their business strategy, so that could happen going forwards. And that definitely could be something which is interesting to look into in the future. So what we are trying to say here is that if they are to win this lawsuit, they would have a lot more capital to work on expanding these businesses and just helping them to operate in a much better way. So this definitely could be a big deal that we do have on the table now if they are to win this lawsuit. Let's move on to the next thing which could be good for HCMC going forwards. This is StockTwits. So StockTwits is obviously basically like a forum room to talk about stocks. Now we can see over on StockTwits, HCMC has 81.6 thousand followers, and that is a lot. So obviously there's still a lot of interest around HCMC, and this follower number has gone up recently by quite a large amount. So I think this is good. It still shows a lot of interest in HCMC, so we are still looking at good things for people being interested in it. And whilst this stock is still relevant, I do believe it has even more potential to see big growth short term. So people still are waiting on this lawsuit. People still do believe good things are coming for HCMC, as a lot of people are still following the stock. So let's move on to this point here, which is obviously something that we talked about in last night's episode. So you could be asking, why am I talking about this in a good way as I spoke about it yesterday in a bad way? Well, this is definitely 50-50. As I said yesterday, we had this agreement just a while ago with HCMC basically clearing debt of about 1.29 million for 1.17 billion of shares. And again, I spoke about this yesterday, potentially being used for death spiral financing or toxic financing. At the moment, we're just not sure as to whether that is happening or not. So until we are aware that that is happening, until it is clear that it's happening, if it does become clear, this definitely still could be seen as a good thing, as HCMC has obviously cleared debt with shares. As I have just mentioned, it could be a bad thing long term if this is being used for death spiral financing, but at the moment it does appear to be a good thing, so that is still something to consider at the moment. Things still going well for HCMC in this regard, clearing debt with shares. So basically, they're reducing the amount of shares which are about, and they're also reducing the amount of debt. It's a win-win, right? Or at least that's how it looks for now. So one other point which is big is their Twitter. So their Twitter is being used to basically talk about promotions and all that kind of stuff. Already they have 24.2 thousand followers. They only joined back in March, so of course not too long ago, and they're already that popular with followers. Again, a lot of this will be people following the stock rather than the company, but it still does go to show. Anyway, one thing which they did do recently is relaunch their vitamin store, and here is a little, discount for it, or a little bonus for it, as you can see on their Twitter. But obviously, relaunching of this vitamin store is a really big deal in my opinion, because if we do think about this one, the vitamin store will allow people to buy vitamins from Hcmc, because look at the other sides of their business model. Yes, the supermarkets are great, but there's like 3 or 4 of them, so of course not all people can access them. The vitamins being online is a really good deal, as obviously not all people vape, but a lot of people do take vitamins. And we can see from the forums, from StockTwits and Yahoo Finance, a lot of people who invest in Hcmc are actually buying their produce as well, which is a really big deal. So that could help revenue to look better this year as well. So again, a really strong deal there from Hcmc. It shows that they are sticking to their business strategy as they are working on expanding the business, as we have had this recent development on March 29th of the relaunching of their vitamin store. So a really big deal in my opinion, and it definitely is another step in the right direction. Now, one thing which was written just a few days ago is this article over here. It says the e-cigarette kits market will touch a new level this upcoming year. That's a big deal already. That is good news. We can see, now this is where it gets really interesting. We can see that they have written top players like Philip Morris. That's fair. Philip Morris is a big company. And obviously Healthier Choices is in there as well. So Healthier Choices is in there with names such as Philip Morris, British American Tobacco and Japan Tobacco. So don't you think that's interesting? I've heard this on multiple different article sites before. Obviously this is just another one talking about it. But Philip Morris is in the same list as Hcmc, and Hcmc is considered a key player in this market apparently by this newspaper. I think this really is a big deal. It just shows the potential that Hcmc could have going forwards. And that is really something big to consider going forwards into the future, as again, if they are to win this lawsuit, it definitely would help them to get even more established in this sector and become a really big deal in this industry. Let's look at the last point which I have to talk about in this, oh my goodness, crossed it off. Let's look at the last point that we have to talk about in this video, and this is again something which is bad and good on the same note. Right now it's a terrible thing, but it could be good going forwards. Let me explain. This is an argument which people from both sides bring up, the Bulls and the Bears. The Bears say it's awful that we have 307.7 billion outstanding shares. It is a bad thing. The Bulls say this presents opportunities for buybacks and reverse splits. Absolutely true, that is a very good point. Of course, we are looking at a lot of money for Hcmc to win if they do win this lawsuit. And again, a lot of this money could be used to buy back shares. Now, obviously, people are talking about buying back 307 billion shares. Let's be realistic. There are going to be shareholders for this company, and perhaps going forwards, if the company does expand at the levels which people think it could, we might even get some institutional investment. What I'm trying to say is we don't need to reduce the amount of shares by 300 billion or something in that region to see a lot of growth for this company, in my opinion. You know, if they were to buy back like 100 billion, or even 200 billion shares for this company, that would be a massive deal, and at the current price it wouldn't even cost that much money, so it's definitely something which is doable going forwards, and I think that this definitely just provides something on the table to see a lot happen for Hcmc. People also talk about a reverse split. This is absolutely possible as well. A lot of people don't like the concept of it. I personally don't think it is a bad concept at all. Let's face it guys, it could work in our favour. For example, if Hcmc was to do a buyback, bringing their share price up to $1 for example, then they could do a reverse split of 1 to 4, making each share worth $4. Now this sounds awful, right? You have 4 times less shares. I mean, yes, you got the same amount in money, but you have 4 times less shares. Well, is it that bad of a deal if the $4 price target, or at least a $4 price point, could mean that we could get listed onto the Nasdaq? Personally, I don't think so. I think it could still be a good deal for Hcmc. What I'm trying to say in this video is that there are benefits to Hcmc, there are drawbacks to Hcmc. You do need to do your own research, but my opinion is we still do have a lot on the table. If we do check the date for today, the date is the 13th. We have 3 days to wait, I do believe, perhaps even less than that, to see what the lawsuit does entail and to see whether the company, does actually get good deals. So waiting on the 16th, that will tell us a lot more about what is going on with the lawsuit. So personally, I am still holding. I'm holding this one for a few years. If it crashes to the ground, then I lose some money. If it rockets to the moon, then I make some money. Ultimately, I think you need to be patient if you are looking to invest in Hcmc. I think that is the most important thing to remember. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow we'll be talking about Hcmc again, so make sure to join us for that. See you soon. Goodbye.